Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Space sims are one of those genres that never stop evolving. Part simulation, part imagination, and always just a little bit ahead of their time. From massive living galaxies to quiet solitary voyages among the stars. These are the kind of games that make you feel small in the best possible way. So for this video, Tom and I are joining forces once again to chart a course through 20 of the most innovative space sims you can play in 2025. And as always, we want your feedback in the comments below. If you enjoy exploring strange new worlds as much as we do, give that like button a quick pulse charge. It helps the channel warp a little further into the algorithmic frontier. Now let's power up the jump drive and dive in. Helium Rain is a slick and deeply atmospheric single-player space sim from Demos Games where you run your own interplanetary trading empire. You'll buy ships, manage routes, and compete with rival factions across a dynamic economy that reacts to your every move. The flight model is fully Newtonian, giving combat a sense of speed and weight that few games can capture. You can literally drift, spin, and fire backward while hurtling through space. It's minimalist, elegant, and quietly ambitious, proving that small teams can still deliver big system depth. And in 2025, it's a no-brainer to check out because Helium Rain is completely free on Steam. The developer even open-sourced the code, allowing the community to tinker, mod, and refine the experience further. Despite its simplicity, it nails the sense of momentum and consequence. Every destroyed freighter or trade deal shifts the balance of the economy. It might not have the scope of X4 or Star Citizen, but for players who want a clean, self-contained space sim with weight, atmosphere, and smarts, Helium Rain is still one of the best out there.
Now everyone, imagine a space combat sim that refused to simplify physics, and you've got Children of a Dead Earth. It throws you into a solar system as a fleet admiral during a war born from Earth's collapse into an uninhabitable wasteland. Pretty bloody grim, I know. But it's not about flashy dogfights or cinematic swagger. This one is about trajectories, momentum, and whether your railgun is heating up too fast. The innovation comes from every subsystem being real, rocket engines defined by actual engineering equations, orbital mechanics calculated, and N-body simulators. So think every missile, every maneuver, every orbit is rooted back to real science. The campaign and sandbox modes give you the freedom to build, test and engage fleets in a 1-to-1 scale solar system where nothing is just aesthetic. In 2025, it's not coming out with blockbuster DLC every month. The community and the devs still support this game with workshop content and long tail modding, so check this one out.
Infinity Battlescape is one of the most ambitious multiplayer space sims ever made. A seamless, true-to-scale star system where battles transition smoothly from orbit to planetary surface without a single loading screen. Developed by iNove Studios, it's set out to deliver massive faction warfare with hundreds of ships fighting across planets, moons, and asteroid fields. The tech behind it remains jaw-dropping even today, with procedural generation, real-time lighting, and planetary curvature all rendered flawlessly. It's a vision of space combat on a truly epic scale, the kind most games only dream of achieving. But in 2025, Infinity Battlescape is sadly more of a marvel than a mainstream hit. The visuals and flight models still impress, few games make you feel this immensity in space, yet the player base has dwindled, making full matches rare. When you do find a populated server or hop into bot battles, it still feels breathtaking. Fighters weaving through atmospheric clouds and cruisers exchanging fire above alien horizons. Even I enjoyed delivering that line. Even if it never reached its full potential, it remains a remarkable technical achievement and a glimpse of what large-scale space warfare could be. Maybe we can resurrect this one.
Evochron Legacy SE is an indie space sim with astonishing ambition. This one drops you into a vast explorable galaxy of trading, combat and discovery, entirely seamless from orbit to atmosphere, no loading screens in sight. And the innovation lies in that seamless realism. Think jumping between systems, descending to planet surfaces, building outposts, trading, mining, fighting, dogfighting, all in one continuous simulation. It supports HOTUS and full Newtonian flight, giving a depth that rivals games with 100 times its budget. In 2025, it's still quietly evolving. Starwraith, the developer, continues to patch and expand SE Edition, while players keep modding visuals, running servers, and sharing exploration logs. It's got a very positive rating on Steam, and for good reason.
Earth Analog is one of those fascinating indie experiments that quietly push space simulation in an unexpected direction. Released by Funcraft Games, it blends hard science with surreal art direction, letting you pilot the Eurisco 11 through distant, fractal-generated worlds in search of a new home for humanity. The visual engine uses ray marching, yeah, I don't know what that is either, to create alien terrain that bends and folds in impossible ways. Think Interstellar meets a dreamscape. Every world feels unpredictable and eerily beautiful, with full Newtonian flight controls demanding real piloting skill. It's one of those rare titles that captures the isolation of deep space travel while still feeling handcrafted and personal. And in 2025, Earth Analog has had something of a quiet renaissance. The massive 2.0 update added base building, probe deployment, refined flight systems, and vastly improved planetary rendering, transforming it from a tech curiosity into a genuinely immersive exploration sim. The developer has continued to update the visuals and ship systems, giving the game a crisp, modern feel in 4K while keeping the distinctive art direction intact. There aren't many mods, it's more of a self-contained vision, but that's exactly what makes it special. In a sea of noisy space games, Earth Analog stands out as a meditated, atmospheric journey worth revisiting in 2025. If you're interested, check out my full video on the 2.0 update.
Freespace 2 is what happens when late 90s ambition meets perfect execution. You're a pilot in a big galactic alliance, thrown into a desperate war against the mysterious Shivans. Part military epic, part cosmic tragedy, it's pure old school space combat at its most cinematic. What made it innovative though was how it turned chaos into choreography. Massive fleet battles with capital ships, trading beam fire, smart squad commands, and power management between systems. It felt real, like naval warfare in space, and it wasn't just fast-paced dogfighting, it was tactical, weighty, and beautifully directed. And it's still soaring in 2025. After Volition released the source code, fans rebuilt it through FS Open. This added HD textures, dynamic lighting, and new campaigns that rival modern releases. It's not nostalgia, it's living history, and it's still evolving decades later.
Star Wars X-Wing Alliance was the pinnacle of LucasArts space sims when it launched in 1999. Cinematic missions, capital ship battles, and a full story campaign that captured the feel of piloting in the Star Wars universe like nothing else. It gave players control of everything from nimble A-wings to hulking transports with missions that unfolded across massive battlefields. For many, it remains the definitive old-school Star Wars flight experience, challenging, detailed, and utterly immersive. And in 2025, it's better than ever thanks to the XWA Upgrade project, a fan-driven overhaul that transforms the game into a modern masterpiece. It adds HD models, dynamic lighting, full 3D cockpits, VR support, and cinematic effects that rival newer titles. The mod is still being updated and installation is seamless, and you can look up their update videos for the mod. They're pretty cool and easy to follow, and you can keep the original alongside the enhanced version. If you love Star Wars or space sims in general, X-Wing Alliance deserves a place in your 2025 lineup.
Tachyon the Fringe takes you to the outer edge of human space in the 26th century. You're Jake Logan, a down-on-his-luck pilot framed for a bombing, and you've been exiled to the Fringe, where mega corporations, pirates, and colonists fight for survival. This one was innovative back in 2000 thanks to the scale and ambition of its combat. This wasn't just dogfighting one fighter against another, you were weaving around massive stations, capital ships, and you had branching missions where you could choose sides. It had sliding flight mechanics that allowed you to strafe and move in three-dimensional space with fluidity, and the multiplayer Base Wars mode pitched you into team-based, large-scale engagements long before that was very common. Now, in 2025, Tachyon the Fringe may not have the updates of some of the other games on this list, but it's still accessible via Steam, it retains a cult status, and it serves as a fascinating historical piece that hands you the cockpit of a space combat sim, combined with the swagger of early 2000s ambition. Check it out if you're curious.
Star Trek Bridge Commander is still the gold standard for feeling like a true Starfleet captain. Released in 2002 by Totally Games, it let you command your crew from the bridge, managing shields, power and weapons while engaging enemies across beautifully recreated Star Trek sectors. It perfectly captured the tactical, thoughtful pace of space combat that defined the series, balancing command decisions with cinematic authenticity. In 2025, the remastered mod keeps it shining. Updated visuals, 4K support, improved lighting, and modern ship models make it feel fresh without losing its soul. Whether you're taking the Enterprise D into battle or exploring the galaxy in the Defiant, this fan overhaul transforms a classic into a modern tribute. And it still delivers the most authentic Star Trek experience you can play today. Hang on, there's Star Trek Klingon Academy waiting in the sidelines, staring at me. I think Klingon Academy could be better, but the modding scene just nudges Star Trek Bridge Commander onto this list. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who who watch the channel are not subscribed. So make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it.
The year is 2273 and you take command of an asteroid excavation ship deep in the rings of Saturn, mining rare materials while uncovering corporate conspiracies and cosmic mysteries. This one is Delta V Rings of Saturn. The setting in this one is quiet and vast. You're both miner and investigator in equal measure. Making this one innovative is its dedication to hard sci-fi mechanics. This one certainly isn't a pew-pew space opera. You gotta balance your propulsion, radiators, reactor heat and inertia. Every burn and every maneuver will have consequences. And in 2025 it's not just a novelty. The devs are still rolling out updates, the community is active on both Reddit and Discord, and the depth here rewards the curious player rather than the casual one. So for anyone who wants a space sim where engineering and survival are meaningful, this game will deliver in spades for you.
Few games spark debate like Star Citizen. It's the endlessly evolving space sim that promises everything. From seamless planetary travel, fully explorable ships, FPS combat, trading, mining and massive multiplayer worlds. For all its controversy, it's impossible not to admire the ambition. The level of detail in its ships, environments and physics systems is staggering. And even in its unfinished state, it often delivers moments that feel like pure sci-fi cinema. In 2025, Star Citizen still isn't finished, but it's more playable than ever. Well, it would want to be with the amount of money they spent on it. Okay, I'll try be good. Yeah, ship prices and bugs remain part of the discussion, but it's hard to deny how groundbreaking its technology is. When it works, it's breathtaking. Stepping into a cockpit, powering up your ship and lifting off into a living galaxy feels like no other game. And love it or hate it, Star Citizen continues to redefine what a space sim could be. Well, if they knew how to spend the money properly. Alright, I'll stop. It's time to move on quickly to the next game.
Space Engineers isn't a pilot the flagship space sim, it's a sandbox where you become the engineer. Set in a universe of asteroids, moons and planets, you're given the tools, welders, drills, blocks, and of course freedom to build what you want. Ships, stations, rovers and entire bases. So whether you want to mine an asteroid, build an orbital shipyard, or design a planet-bound factory, the game gives you the tools in order to do so. What made it innovative was how it treated structure and physics as core mechanics. The game uses a voxel grid and real physics models. Every block has weight, inertia matters, and structures deform, so essentially it made engineering in space feel meaningful. And in 2025 it's still going strong. There is of course a sequel, but the devs have still kept this up to date and the modding community remains vibrant. If you want a space sim where creation and experimentation are the things that matter, this one is well worth your time.
BattleGroupVR launched in full in July 2023 after a period in early access, developed and published by Space Owl Games. It's a real-time 3D space strategy simulation where you command a fleet of warships and the bridge of your flagship, not as a distant commander, but immersed in first-person VR mode. The design emphasises tactical fleet control, ship progression and real-time decisions in a fully three-dimensional battlefield. User reviews have been generally very positive, praising the immersion and the VR element, not something we often see with virtual reality. In 2025, the game remains a compelling experience, especially for VR enthusiasts who want real scale in space strategy. And the good news for those looking ahead, BattleGroupVR 2 is scheduled for release in November 2025 with a public demo already available. The sequel promises enhanced fleet operations, expanded gameplay modes with open world, trading, mining, more dynamic battles, and even voice commands and multiplayer co-op systems. Honestly, the best voice command experience I had was in Star Trek Bridge Crew, but they took IBM Watson out of that title, kinda ruined it to be honest. So this is something we should all be very excited about.
We have Independence War 2 Edge of Chaos next. This one is set a century after the original, which throws you into the Badlands cluster, which is a rough stretch of frontier space where corporations rule everything, and revenge is gonna drive every decision. You're Cal Johnson, an ex-convict turned reluctant hero, sounds legit, carving a life between piracy, rebellion and corporate warfare. What really made this one innovative back in 2001 was its uncompromising realism. You had full Newtonian physics, seamless system travel and capital ship combat that feels weighty and cinematic, long before any other game really dared. It managed to make engagements feel tactical and not arcadey, and your momentum mattered. And thanks to fans, it's still a joy to play in 2025. You have community patches, texture mods that keep it sharp on modern systems, and it runs smoother than ever thanks to the iWar 2 project. Definitely check this one out, guys. Elite Dangerous still defines the open galaxy sim. You start in a humble sidewinder, a few credits to your name, and the entire Milky Way to get lost in. Trade, explore, mine, fight, or simply drift. It's one of those rare gems that makes space feel genuinely massive. And the innovation was the scale with substance. A full one-to-one galaxy built around believable flight. This one forced you to plan routes, balance fuel, and respect physics. Frontier really nailed it with that feeling of true spaceflight as well, the hum of the cockpit, the slow roll of a gas giant on the horizon, or the quiet terror of a failed jump. It was a sensory experience. And in 2025 it's still thriving. Trailblazers and Vanguard updates have kept the galaxy moving, and a devoted community fills the gaps with HUD mods, visual overhauls, and some exploration tools. Frontier has kept it steady and the fans have kept it alive, and this game is an absolute must play for fans of the genre.
No Man's Sky has gone from one of gaming's biggest controversies to one of its greatest comebacks. What launched as an ambitious but empty universe has grown into a thriving, feature-rich space sim complete with base building, planetary weather systems, fleet management, seamless multiplayer, and full VR support. It's a reminder that few studios are as committed to long-term vision as Hello Games. And hello Games, you could include LT Gaming on your next update because we are a pretty big space channel at this time, or we're actually doing more reviews than some of the more established channels. So maybe reach out to us and we can do more on No Man's Sky. In 2025, No Man's Sky continues to evolve through massive free updates that keep surprising players. From overhauled biomes and improved visuals to ship salvaging, new expeditions, and even paleontology systems, every update adds something unexpected. The scale, artistry, and generosity of its updates have turned it into a living, breathing universe. It's not just a redemption story, it's one of the most innovative, ongoing projects in gaming.
Starsector drops you into a fractured pocket of human space, where the ancient gate network has collapsed and you captain a modest fleet trying to carve out a place amid warring factions, derelict hulks, and some shifting alliances. What made it so innovative is how it blends fleet-scale strategy with detailed ship-by-ship combat. Throw in some RPG progression and you got something really different here. A really cool thing as well is the flux system, where weapons, fire, and shields generate a build-up, and you must vent or risk overload. And it's a standout mechanic that's been widely praised. Even in 2025, this one has some serious staying power. The devs at Fractal Softworks keep updating it, and the modding scene remains lively. New ship packs, campaigns, full conversions, making Starsector feel more like a living toolkit than a finished title.
Space Engine is a one-of-a-kind blend of space simulator and educational software, a living universe that lets you explore everything from nearby stars to distant galaxies in seamless one-to-one scale. Built using real astronomical data combined with procedural generation, it lets you fly from orbit to planetary surface without a single loading screen. Every world, nebula, and black hole feels authentic, grounded in science yet presented with cinematic beauty. It's part simulator, part planetarium, and endlessly mesmerizing. In 2025, Space Engine remains unmatched for anyone who wants to explore the cosmos at their own pace. Its database grows with every update, adding new celestial discoveries and refined visuals, while the modding community continues to expand it with HD textures, custom star systems, and even fictional ships. Whether you use it to learn, to create, or simply to drift among the stars, Space Engine bridges that gap between science and imagination. A meditative, awe-inspiring experience that never gets old.
Freelancer is the early 2000s gem that made space sims accessible without dumbing them down. You play as Edison Trent, a rogue pilot, accidental hero, and you find yourself bouncing between the great houses of Liberty, Bretonia, Rhineland, and more. As your trade routes burn and conspiracies unfold, it's really pulpy, cinematic, and wonderfully self-aware. What made it innovative was the seamless design. No loading screens or chunky menus, just mouse and keyboard flight that felt instantly natural. It was a sandbox before we really used that word, with dynamic factions, an active economy, and world building that felt alive. And in 2025 it is still flying. Freelancer HD Edition modernises the visuals, fixes old bugs and supports widescreen, while long-running servers have kept multiplayer alive. And for something over 20 years old, with a bunch of full conversion mods to boot, it's shockingly smooth. A perfect balance of freedom and structure that most modern sims are still chasing.
X4 Foundations remains one of the deepest and most rewarding space sims you can play in 2025. It's a true sandbox. You can pilot a lone ship, build sprawling trade empires, command massive fleets, and shape the economy of an entire galaxy. Everything runs in real time, from station production chains to faction wars, creating a universe that feels alive and reactive. It's complex, detailed, and endlessly replayable. The ultimate modern successor to the Freelancer and X3 lineage. And it's only gotten better with time. Frequent updates keep refining visuals, AI, and diplomacy, while the modding scene has exploded, including the incredible Star Wars Interworlds Total Conversion, which lets you command Imperial Star Destroyers, Rebel fleets, and everything in between. I think I have to make a video on this very soon. Combine that with the latest 8.00 diplomacy update, and X4 Foundations feels more alive than ever. It's the perfect space sim for players who want freedom, scale, and systems that truly react to their every move. Simply one of the best space sims ever made.